All right. Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Introduction to Jira Align webinar hosted by XPM. My name is Jason Kidner. I'm going to be your tour guide through the wonderful world of Jira Align. I am a business process consultant here at XPM, and I am certified as a SAFe program consultant and also certified as an Atlassian Jira administrator. So, and I'm based here, been working with XPM for 2 years now. We're based in St. Louis. And so we're going to go through a little quick agenda here and some housekeeping. So going to do some introduction around eventually getting into some introduction around Jira Align. And then we're going to focus on concepts related to Jira Align, like positioning and implementation. And then the bulk of our time together is going to be a demonstration of the tool itself to see a lot of the, not everything, but a lot of the features of the tool. There's a lot to show in Jira Align. And then finally, at the end, we'll leave some time for questions and answers. So, and if you do have questions, we're asking that you submit those in the Q&A panel on Zoom, and I will do my best to get to them and to answer them as best as I can at the end of the webinar. And hopefully, if all goes as planned, we will be wrapping up by 12 noon Central Time. So that's where we're headed. Just a first introduction again. I work for a Platinum Solution Partner, an Atlassian Platinum Solution Partner called XPM. We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. We are also one of a select group of partners that's in Atlassian's early access program for Jira Align specialization. And we have already worked with a number of large clients with their Jira Align instances, helping to just just make some changes, just improve them. And we also have lined up a number of implementations for this year. And so I'm showing this graphic because, at first when you see this graphic, it looks like a lot's going on. It's very busy. And I thought this was just a nice way of introducing that that a lot of organizations, and I'm assuming a lot of the organizations you're with, are on some sort of journey to using Agile in your businesses, or to even doing Agile at scale in your organizations. And so this graphic represents the complexity of planning at scale. And so you have down here the sprint planning area, which is wonderful. Like tools like Jira are wonderful at helping teams with their sprint planning, with organizing their work at a team level. But then when you go up above that and start to plan and do Agile at scale above the team level, you get into more of the program level and big room or PI planning. Then you can go up even further to what we would maybe call portfolio planning, the portfolio level of your organization, where you're doing estimating, prioritizing about portfolios or initiatives, and whether to pivot or persevere on those and to plan those. And then even up higher, or maybe more horizontally, you have a product management that's doing a lot of intake and a lot of scenario planning around what should the organization work on next. And then you also have the piece of just like high level goals and strategic planning at the highest level of the organization. So again, Jira is wonderful at doing this level, but as you start to go up, you need to access some other tools that can really help align your whole organization together. So that's where Jira Align could definitely come in and be a possible solution for your organization. And before we talk about Jira Align and focus on that, just want to make a mention that that Atlassian also has an add-on to Jira. Actually, it used to be an add-on called Portfolio. Now a Portfolio has been rebranded as Advanced Roadmaps, and this is an app that's just tied in with Jira Premium or Jira Enterprise. And this could potentially be one way that you start to scale your organization up from the team level to more of a program level. And I just wanted to touch on real quick, because it could be just a part of your journey, something to consider uh, as your organization grows. And just have one slide on this, but just want to mention that advanced roadmaps, it is really great for growing agile organizations that need visibility, need shared focus or accurate delivery. And it allows for a visualization within Jira that allows you to plan across multiple teams. So you can get away from just that one Scrum board for a team or Kanban board, and you can go up to a higher level of showing, you could show that one team in a different way with a timeline and work breakdown structure, but you could also go up to a higher level where you can see multiple teams that are all kind of working together and see how each team is planning and even their dependencies between teams. So it really can offer a great visualization for that team or a team of team planning. And it also allows you to align work to a higher level initiative. So you can go up from the epic, the Jira epic level to really an infinite hierarchy of issue types that can be planned for. So that might be something that you want to consider in your organizations. Again, this comes with Jira Premium or Jira Enterprise. And even if you do ultimately go to Jira Align, this could still have a good use within Jira itself, those users working in Jira. So, but the focus of this webinar is really on Jira Align. And as we see here, Jira Align is, Jira Align is formerly called AgileCraft, and Atlassian acquired it in 2019. And it's now Atlassian's cloud-based Agile at Scale solution that provides the enterprise with a tool to align business strategy with team execution. And you can see here that this tool fully syncs people and work and time across your enterprise. So you go from the team all the way up to the enterprise level in this tool. The tool also offers product management modules, strategic portfolio modules, and scale development all together. And so you have these cross-team, cross-functional collaboration within the tool. So you don't have to integrate one tool with another tool with another tool. It's all packaged together in Jira Align. And then ultimately there's real-time analysis across, potentially across your whole enterprise. And it becomes really a single source of truth for team execution, for team planning, for portfolio planning, etc. And as you can see here too, Jira Align ultimately would layer and interconnect with one or more instances of Jira. And it basically then syncs all the teamwork happening in Jira or potentially other tools as well. And it becomes, again, that single source of truth. So some things related to positioning. So Jira Align really is meant to be a tool designed for organizations that have implemented or are in the process, again, that Agile at Scale journey, that they're in the process of some sort of framework for scaled Agile. And ideally that the organization's been through at least one PI increment or quarterly increment, so that they're starting on that journey, but they need a tool that can then come in to help improve the visualizations, improve the planning on what's already begun. And Jira Align, it is a big tool. It has a much higher price point than Jira, Jira Premium, even Jira Enterprise. So it really is positioned for organizations with at least 500 developers. And we really do think that smaller companies would struggle with either the scale of the tool or the price point, or both of those. So again, it is positioned more for large scale enterprise level organizations. And as we'll see, Jira Align can handle the planning and visualization of work from the C-suite, from that high level enterprise level, all the way down to the Agile team level. And it's just, as you'll see, it's a robust tool that can align your work across your whole enterprise. So a few things around just what the offerings with Jira Align. There are two editions of Jira Align, Standard and Enterprise. Most organizations begin with standard, and that kind of gets your team up to your program level of planning and visualization in the tool. And then they typically would then move on from standard and then bring in the enterprise level, which then goes up to the portfolio and enterprise level, and then brings in the product management module as well. And as you might imagine, there's definitely a higher price point for enterprise. But that gives you the full package of offerings, and that's what I'm going to be demoing today, the enterprise edition. There are other add-ons for time tracking, and another add-on called Enterprise Insights, which is really a way for you to export all your data to be used so that it could be used for Power BI tools and other ways of analyzing the data. And there's some, Atlassian is investing in Jira Align, and there are new and upcoming improvements. They're working on a new connector, which is coming in, new connectors to Jira, which should improve that administration of those connections. They also have a Trello integration, and they're improving their OKR UI, their OKR reporting and implementation. And they're also working on some AI features as well that should be coming out this year. Finally here with concepts, just the implementation of Jira Align. It is a large tool, so it does take time to implement. And you can kind of see here the path of implementation involving planning, discovery around the needs and the reasons why your organization would be going to Jira Align. Plenty of configuration and training for the different roles that people would have in the tool. And then ultimately starting to use it, getting the work in there, planning it out, using it in a PI, giving training as that's going on, and then validating. How did it go? And then working on the next PI and keep improving and iterating on your company's use. So it can take many months to ultimately get this up and running and really fine-tuned for your organization. All right, so with that, you've been waiting now for a product demo. So let's jump into the tool here. All right, so here's our sign-in page. So Jira Align is a SaaS solution that can be integrated with the SSO strategy of your organization. So I'm going to log in and let's see what the UI looks like. There we go. All right, so we see here that Jira Align, the navigation, most of the navigation takes place in this left side toolbar. And what you see here are different modules. You have your product module here. Then you have basically these menu items related to each level of scale in your organization. So you have the team level, and if you click on any of these menu items, you get then a list of possible options, ways for visualizing work or managing work, lots and lots of different features within the tool. And these features can all be toggled on and off depending on what role you have in the tool. So there's a really, really complex layer of permissions within the tool. So you can go from the team level to the program level. There's a portfolio level. And then at the top is the enterprise level. You also have the ability to favorite different aspects of work you're doing. There's a search bar, search functionality. And then at the top of the UI is what's called the configuration bar. And this is really key here. This allows you to set basically the slice of information that you want to see within the tool. So this is where you're able to choose initially, you're able to choose the layer of work that you want to look at. From the portfolio, you can choose one or multiple portfolios to look at. Potentially, you could go down to the program level and choose one or more programs to visualize. You can even go down to the team level as well. We're going to start off with the portfolio. So I'm going to choose the digital services portfolio. and click apply. And by the way, you can also see the breakdown over here of portfolio to program and to the teams that are located in a given program. You can see all that and choose those as well. You can also then choose the time frame that you want to look at with the work in the tool. So you can choose your PIs. You can choose multiple PIs. You can choose PIs in the past. I'm just going to keep this at PI 5. And then you also have opportunity to choose release fixes and products. And you can also save these configurations and have them, just ready to be used in the future. Then up here, just kind of rounding out our little high-level walkthrough, you have the ability to see notifications. You have the ability to see other users within the tool, personas. There's some built-in training simulations and the ability to create checklists around different processes and checklists on which parts of the tool to use in a given process. You have a little notification area as well, similar to Jira Cloud, a search, and then you have the create button, kind of like those of you who are used to using Jira. This is where you have the ability, again, based on permissions, you have the ability to create work items in the tool. And you can see there's lots of different items that can potentially be created. One final mention here, we'll get to some of these. There's a robust layer of reporting. And then under the administration area, just want to highlight that you have the ability to change the terminology within the tool. So some of you, your organizations might be using SAFe, and the tool itself actually has some terminology setups here related to maybe the Scaled Agile framework you're using. So they have some of these, but ultimately for every object name within the tool, you can adjust this and customize it for the terminology your organization's using. That's a nice feature. All right, so really the focus, the overarching uses of Jira Align are twofold. There's strategic top-down planning, and then there's the visualization of the work and the progress that rolls up from the team level to the other layers of scale. So this demo really kind of focuses, first, we'll focus on strategic top-down planning, and then the second part will be looking at how all that, the execution of that work then starts to roll up, back up to the other layers. So we're going to start off with at the top of the pyramid, as it were. We're going to look at the enterprise level, and we're going to start off with this strategy room. And once you're in here, you have to choose a snapshot, which is going to really give you the time frame and the programs that you want to focus on for your high-level strategies within your organization. So I'll choose this Corporate Strategy 2020. And when you choose this, you see a number of things. And again, this is going to be a pretty high level, fairly quick walkthrough of these features. But this is where you see the high level mission, vision, and values within the organization, again, for a given time period. And you can see here, you have this strategy pyramid that has the mission of the organization at the top. And then you can see how this rolls down from the values layer to a couple layers of high-level goals, long-term strategies. These can all be toggled on or off in case your company doesn't have this many layers of the pyramid. And then ultimately, those strategies then connect to the work to be executed via themes that would then be linked to epics. And when we use the term epics, this is more of the safe epic layer. And those epics then would be made up of features, and then features would be made up of stories. So you can see this layer of strategy, the strategy pyramid. As you look elsewhere on this UI, there's an OKR heat map. There is a lot of functionality around OKRs that are tied in with the goals that you set at various levels of your organization. And this just shows kind of a high level update of those OKRs. And then you can even go over here and you can see, maybe I'll make this a little bit smaller. And you can see execution against your outcomes. So you can see the execution against portfolio objectives and how those epics are progressing, features, how those are progressing against different objectives at different layers. So you see a lot of progress, again, rolling up to the very top of the organization out here at the strategy room. And then below that, again, for other things that you're setting up within your tool for your planning, you can do that all. One way is to go to the create button, and you can start off, let's say we're going to go down to the next layer of the organization at the portfolio layer, and you can start to create themes. And so I'm just going to assume there's a lot of themes already in the organization, which there actually are. So I'm going to go down to the portfolio layer. And here we're going to look at how to start managing and prioritizing and the backlog of the various work items at each layer. So I'm going to choose the backlog option in the portfolio. All right. And here I have the ability to choose which view of the backlog. So I want to focus at the beginning on the theme backlog. Let's keep starting up at the high level. And here, if I expand this, I can see that the themes that are related to PI5, I can see there's 11 of them. And I see a lot of information, or at least a little bit of information here initially about the PIs that they involve. I can, like any backlog, you can rank and re-rank these and move them around, change the ranking, the priorities of the items. You can also expand these. And in this case, it's a theme, and the themes are connecting the work up to the strategies. And below the themes, I can see the safe epics that have been set up within a given theme. And those could even be ranked or re-ranked. And you can start to see even some other information showing here, different columns. And for any of these, when you're in the backlog, you can always click on the summary of a given work item, and it'll open up a panel that then shows all the details of a given work item. So this is the theme, and you can see some of the high level information around this theme. Is it active? What strategic initiative is it focused on? There's many fields in each of these work items, and there's a lot of interlinking then with objectives at the portfolio level, other links you can put out here as well. So this would be your themes that would then, again, link up to your yearly goals or potentially some other part of that strategy pyramid. Then when you go down from themes, you would go down next to planning out your epics. So we can look at the epics here in the epic backlog. Again, I'm focused on this one portfolio. So these are the epics related to this particular portfolio, and epics that are located in this particular program increment, though they're likely going to be covering multiple program increments. So here I can expand this, and I see there are 86 epics here in this particular portfolio and PI. And again, I can look at these. I can re-rank them if I want to do that work. I can always expand this and see how these are being decomposed into features. I can see a lot of information over here. I can adjust all this with the columns shown option. And a couple of things before we look into an epic. There is a Kanban feature here. And there's a few options. I want to note this state, or no, actually the value stream view. Let's see here. Actually, this isn't exactly the one I want to look at. Oh, I know what I need to do. Let's set this up for the mobile program. I just want to look at the program, not the whole portfolio. Okay, here we go. So just for the epics that this particular program we're working on just gets us down to 27. And I think they might have changed some of the UI on me here. Look at this. All right, so this isn't fully set up. Actually, let me see the state view. This is what I want. Yeah, here's what I want. So this, what we see here is a built-in safe epic intake Kanban board, where we can see here that epics would come in and they're not started, and they can eventually go to in progress, eventually to dev complete, to test complete, and accepted. So this offers up a nice way to, again, to do your intake of epics, do the pivot, persevere, just really kind of decide, are we as an organization going to work on this epic? And you can kind of keep track of those on this Kanban board. Under the Kanban option, there's also a column view. And this would come in handy when you're trying to do capacity planning, ideally when you're looking at future PIs and thinking about the amount of load. And what this does is it's going to highlight the amount of, based on the velocity that you have for down at the team level, that velocity can roll up then to the program and then even to the portfolio level to see how much capacity, how much velocity can we as a program or we as a portfolio actually take on in a given PI. And then based on the estimates you would do for your epics, you can decide, whoa, this epic's a little too much for us to take on given our capacity. And all of that, again, the tool is really robust in terms of calculating velocity and rolling that up and estimating down and kind of, seeing, is this going to really sync up and work for us? So that's available here within the backlog view. And let's go back to the list view here, and let's open up one of these. Let's just open up one of these epics. So you can see this is there's a lot of possibilities with the epics. So first you have a details tab, and this again is kind of a high level FYI of the type of epic, the programs that are working on that epic. You can even see the program increments. The WSJFs can be used here. You can also do your t-shirt sizing estimation for given PIs. And this can all be then set up with what does that actually mean in terms of team weeks or story points. And you can also see, a lot of other things around features that are linked up to this epic, risks, dependencies, success criteria, many, many different features involved in the epics. You also have a design tab, and this allows, would be especially useful for intake, where you can allow users to consider a lightweight business case for the epic. You can even set up a specific intake form, specific just for your instance, for when users are just throwing out ideas for epics to be funded. There's a business case. This actually shows a lot of the things related to the design tab, but it shows that lean business case to be considered. There's a value tab, and this highlights that Jira Align is very, it's focused on the notion of value engineering, where a hypothesis is validated based on various outcomes. And so as you start to work with this and do the value engineering, it allows your portfolio team to decide, do we want to bet on this? Do we want to pivot, or do we want or on this portfolio, or do we actually want to persevere and see this thing because I think it's really going to add value. So all this stuff can be done within the tool. I'll kind of skip over some of these. There's just so much to show you. We don't have too much time to get into all these. But I want to note too that there's some really nice financial support within the tool. It's not meant to be like your financial source of truth, accounting source of truth necessarily, but it does support a lot of financial planning for your epics, and it supports two common ways of budgeting. The first would be you can associate a budget directly with an epic. We can see that here. We can do your CapEx and OpEx within the epic itself, but it also supports a lean, agile budget where budgets are given to programs and then those are associated as a percentage to the theme. So a number of ways you can do some financial planning with your epics. And then there's a forecasting way where you can like look ahead, forecast to think in terms of how much capacity do we have going forward. All right, so then let's keep moving. We'll go down here. Notice there is a capability backlog. There's a layer that we don't have turned on here, a solution layer in the tool where capabilities would be managed, but we don't have that turned on. But there is that ability to have that layer within the tool. But let's jump down to features. And again, epics will be decomposed into features. And this is where you're going to be working then more at your program level. And again, you can see all this information here. You can even see how features are decomposed into stories. And you can open up any one of these features. And we can look at a few things here that we're going to keep moving. Features, again, are going to be worked on primarily. You're going to have a primary program that they're worked on. They're going to roll up to a parent epic, typically. They're going to, and that would roll up to a theme, and kind of you'd have this hierarchy of work, your work breakdown structure. And so there's design tabs, value tabs within here at the feature level, even finance tabs again at the feature level, depending on how your organization's doing its portfolio and budgeting. So a lot of things here. These ultimately, again, would be connected then over into Jira, where your team planning, taking these features would typically go over to that Jira epic level and then be decomposed into stories. And all that's going to be synced up through the connector to Jira. So when we're at this program level, I want to highlight a couple things for planning here. One of them is the program board. There it is, program board. So this is a really nice feature in Jira Align that isn't really offered in Jira or even advanced roadmaps. This sort of visualization that typically you might imagine when we were all working together, maybe, or even having in-person big PI planning, that you'd have this board on a wall with lots of sticky notes and strings connecting, showing dependencies and things like that. So this is a digital representation of the program board. And it, as you can see here, this is for one given program, for one program increment. And you can see the sprints or iterations that are made, that this are contained in this PI. There's a lot of information out here. There's a legend that you can look at to kind of make sense of it all, based on the colors and the different shapes, where you have objectives up here. You have features that are being worked on and what's their status, and are there any risks or any planning issues. You have dependencies here. These chevrons are dependencies, but you just get the sense that you can see like all of what your teams in a given program are working on, and how the progress is being made at a high level here, which is great. And this is, again, an existing running PI, but this could also be used, obviously, for future PI planning as well. And one thing that's really nice here that you can start to highlight here is that there are dependencies. This is one way of showing the dependencies in the tool. And you can click on any of these dependencies and you can start to see a little bit more about them. But what the tool offers is a really nice dependency management module. And you get to that under the program menu. You can click here. And this dependency features in the tool are really great because many organizations struggle to plan, to kind of collaborate from team to team or even program to program around dependencies, and even to track them. So Jira Align has a lot of great features here. So this shows a lot of the dependencies for the mobile program. And you can even kind of drill down onto, dependencies that still need to be done, that are still outstanding. And you can look at your requests. There's other visualizations. You can go into the maps option and look at some various views on dependencies, like the wheel view will show. And here you get this kind of web of the dependencies between various teams. And these are teams that aren't just in the mobile program, but you could click on one of these, like let's click on Angry Birds. And when I click on this, I can see there's two lines here, two strings as it were. So these represent dependencies. One of them is work that others need from Angry Birds. Another one is work that Angry Birds needs from another team. So let's click on one of these. I'll click on this one. So some other team has asked for work from Angry Birds. And you can see just quickly here that the dependencies have their own workflows. They would go from not committed, because this basically means that some team is requesting work from another team. That team has to look at the dependency, decide, yeah, we're going to commit to this, and actually choose a sprint or an iteration that they're going to commit to doing the work by. And then that dependency then could even, it's related, let's say, to a feature, but then the team that's being asked, they can actually then go ahead and add a story into their team's backlog to say, we need to do this work in order to complete and satisfy this dependency. So there's a really, again, robust level of dependency management in the tool. And there's also things that we don't have time to show them. There's more other support also for risks as well, and roadmaps we'll talk about shortly. So again, a lot of various features around your strategic planning, all the way from your strategies, from your long-term goals, down to themes, to epics, to features. And then those features would then be linked up and synced up with Jira for the teams to then start to work, decompose those features into stories, potentially subtasks as well, over in Jira to do their work there. So I'm going to pause to give a quick commercial for Expium. All right, so again, Expium is a Platinum Solution Partner with Atlassian, and there's a number of things that we can offer to customers. One thing is training. We do a number of training, have a lot of training opportunities. One of the main things we have is we have public boot camps, Jira and Confluence boot camps. And we also do a lot of training, customized training for companies, for Jira, Confluence, really any Atlassian tool that your organization would need training for. We can certainly provide that. We also provide consulting help, whether that means an implementation of Jira or Confluence or Jira Service Management, something like that. Currently, we also offer a lot of services around migration to the cloud. We're doing a number of engagements with clients as they're getting off of their server products and moving to Atlassian cloud products. And we also provide a licensing support, and really any sort of support work related to any Atlassian tool. We can certainly offer that. We also have a sister company called Oasis Digital Solutions that is well versed and experts at custom development, and they are so really we can do practically any sort of customized work, whether it's custom integrations through APIs or front ends or add-ons, what have you. Pretty much anything your organization needs, we can provide that as well. So that is the end of that little commercial. Let's get back to the demo. All right, so as I mentioned before, the second part of this demo is going to be the focus of, you've planned your work. Now you want to visualize the work from the team level all the way up to the enterprise level. So we'll just imagine again that teams are working in Jira and they're doing their sprinting and they're and completing work in Jira, and that's all then syncing over through the connector to Jira Align. And so, some of that can be seen at the team level, though most of your teamwork you're going to be visualizing in Jira. Your teams are going to be working in Jira to do that. So there is a layer that you can look at over here in Jira Align, but let's focus on the program layer. And we'll first highlight the program room. Here we go. So this program room is ultimately like a really a great dashboard for all the work being done by a given program. And so you see all these little widgets across the program room. You can see team progress, team load versus capacity. You can see release fixes that are being worked on, and all these you can see these in progress, these progress bars, and you can highlight over any of them, and you can see a little bit more information about what's happening. You can see risks, and all these things can be ultimately moved around or maybe you don't want it to be so busy. And you can see the sprints, where you're at with sprint status, and runway. You can see all the features being worked on and where they're ranked and where they're broken down into stories. And again, you can see progress bars on everything. So we can see these are completed. You can highlight over this one. This looks like it's late. So again, everything is visualized really nicely to stand out. If there's any issues, those really stand out in the tool. You also see dependencies, impediments, objectives. You can also even drill down into like one particular team of the program here. So I could just click on this Cowboys, and this would give me a view into just what the Cowboy team is working on. So, and I could click on any one of these as well, or just go for the whole program view. So really, really nice way to see, how is this team doing? Are there any major red flags happening? Are we on track for completing the work that we committed to at the PI event? So you have all this happening at the program level. Then up at the portfolio level, the various work that's being executed by multiple programs would then roll up into this portfolio level. And let's go ahead and choose the portfolio room. There's a room here. And yes, it's telling me I need to choose a portfolio, which makes sense. So here we see there's a couple of different tabs in the portfolio room. So first you see this execution tab, and this allows us to see things like the theme burn up, like how much work again is being completed, accepted towards what was committed to in a given theme. And you can see this, there's, we looked at, I think, 11 themes for this PI. So we can see the progress being made, and it looks like a lot of progress is being made towards a lot of those themes. So you can see that theme burn up. You can always see, again, the program increment. You can see how much work is being completed. Again, this is all story points. It's taking all the story points being completed across all of your issues. And again, this is really assuming that you're estimating in story points with your teams over in Jira. Those are being brought over, and you can see the accepted story points and the amount of story points that were committed to across the whole PI. So, and you can even then drill down into the various epics. You can see the epics, you can see the progress being made at the epic level. And this again is an aggregation of the progress being made at the feature level. So that's the execution. You can also look at the resource view, which shows a level of effort for each theme. And again, how much work is being done and accomplished across these various themes. And finally, you have a financial tab that again shows various information. Oops, it shows different themes and the work being done across these different themes. It also allows you to see a breakdown of the budget that was set up originally for this PI, for all the epics across this PI, and the estimated amount of cost and the actual cost. Again, this is all kind of done in the background with algorithms that the tool has, where it has the cost of your different a calculated cost for your story points and the work being done, and it rolls that up and aggregates that. So so you have this, and you can break down, then look into any of these epics, and you can see the budget and the estimate, and you can just get a good financial picture across your whole portfolio of how are things going, what's the health of all of these epics. So a lot of great features here. For the sake of time, I'm just going to highlight that there is a reports module. We're not going to look at this in depth, but there's a lot of reporting out here. One of them, like it says here, you can ask different questions. So you can say, are we going to finish here? Are we going to finish this program increment on time? And here we're at the portfolio level. So it's showing a program burn down charts by feature or by story. This is across the whole portfolio. But you can certainly drill down into a given program. Look, this is showing different programs and the burn down or burn up charts of programs. You can even go down, if you're really kind of micromanaging, you can get down into even the team level. But this just highlights just the amount of reporting, the in-depth reporting that this tool offers. So many, many different reports out here to potentially show. But here, before we wrap up and get to some question time, I want to highlight too that there is a product management piece of the tool. Again, this is the enterprise edition of the tool. You get this product module, and you can see here there's a lot of things related to product management with visioning, business models, personas, competitors, a number of things like that, ideation. But a lot of this can then be highlighted and shown in the product room. So here, let me go down into let me choose the mobile program. So here we have the product room, and you can choose a product. Again, these can all be then set up, managed within this part of the tool. There's a lot of products to potentially choose from. So we'll look at this check scanning app, and we can see different personas. Doesn't look like personas were really set up so much, or at least having work accepted for given personas. You see product objectives listed here. Again, a value engineering widget, theme distribution, how the work related to, this all really makes sense if you have your stories, your features that actually have a product mentioned on them that they can roll up into this nice snapshot of the work, the progress being made towards a given product. But you can see here, there's these top features. These features are obviously set up for this particular product. You can see the backlog of those features, where they stand in the given release vehicle, features that are set up in a given program increment that you have set up here. And you can even see stories that are being worked on to complete items for this given product. So you see a lot of information out here that would be very beneficial to product management. And lastly, the last visualization to highlight is the roadmap. And I could have talked about the roadmap earlier. You could certainly use the roadmap. They're wonderful and great for future planning. But I did want to highlight here, when it comes to like the visualization of work being accomplished, the roadmaps here in Jira Align highlight a lot of great information. So you can get to this not just from the product management module, but from the program module as well. And you can look at this in a couple of different ways. The main way is kind of like the work breakdown structure here, but you can look even at a program increment layer, and you can kind of see the progress being made in the whole PI and just get a really nice snapshot of the work here. But let's go back to the work breakdown, and you see the timeline here. And what's great about this is you see, again, based on colors, you can see how, like, very quickly the health of a given epic, or in this case, we have it, we're showing features by epic. So in this case, these main timelines are epics, and they're broken down into various features. And you can see the health of those features. I can even see the different stories that are being worked on in the various, and you see the sprint timeline up here. So, and I can see the progress bar that hopefully you can see this as the screen sharing, but there's a progress bar. Each of these timelines is essentially a progress bar for the work being completed. And I can see here that this epic, if I hover over this is critical. It looks like there's gonna be a slip here for this epic. The blue ones are done. The orange ones are at risk. So there's a lot to see very quickly out here on these roadmaps. So, all right, well, we're here at the end of the demo part, at least. I hope this has been really helpful. I think you can all see that this tool is very large. I've heard other people in our company kind of describe, like, if we go back and think about Jira Align versus advanced roadmaps. Advanced roadmaps is great. You could kind of think of that as like a Cadillac, whereas Jira Align is like a Rolls Royce. Okay, so they're just at different levels in terms of price, in terms of capabilities, and what. So there's a lot of things certainly to consider as an organization as you're on your journey to scale the agile, or even just to get on to start your agile transformation. But these tools have a lot of great features in each, and we would love to talk with you more around what might be the best thing at this point in your organization's journey. So with that, I'm going to pause the demo, and we have a time for question and answer. And while we're answering questions, I'm going to also just leave this particular slide up just as we wrap up to mention that we do have other webinars, these free webinars, typically on Thursdays, and boot camps as well. So I will have this up as we look at the questions that might being asked. All right, so we have a question. Let me see if I'll take this on. When is advanced roadmaps recommended, and when is Jira Align recommended? Is that tied to company size? Other aspects do you consider? So I think, Fabian, hopefully I answered that question in the course of the webinar. We can definitely see that advanced roadmaps, again, is going to give you that great team visualization, or potentially a team of team visualization. It also gives you some capacity planning possibilities at the team level, and it can show even kind of higher level planning around initiatives, or even higher. You could potentially go up to strategies with that, but it really offers that timeline view of work, that Gantt chart view. And but it really, if you want to go higher, connecting the work up to and doing like lean portfolio management, or connecting all your work up to higher level strategies and themes, it's gonna start to, you're just gonna start to run out of ways to use it to really highlight those things and visualize those things in your company. So I will mention, if we go back here, whoops, just related to that we do have, when is it coming up? Looks like the next one is March 4th, but there is an introduction to portfolio management in Jira coming up on March 4th. This is a really, this is a nice webinar that gives a demo of advanced roadmaps. And it also gives a little demo of Jira Align, so you can start to compare the two, but it definitely gets more into the use cases for advanced roadmaps. So I highly recommend that you attend that or consider that. And as always, you can always reach out to me here at jason.kidner@xpm.com if you have any questions or want to see a demo of advanced roadmaps and potential use cases, how that might work for your organization. We definitely have a lot of engagements to help companies with their use of advanced roadmaps. So. All right, let's see some other ones here. So yeah, the concepts of epics and features, are those in Align? Yeah, and this gets into terminology. When I was doing the demo of Align, you heard me say epic a lot. And that gets, again, into terminology, where when I was using the term epic in Align, it meant like the safe epic, which is happening at the portfolio level. That's where you're doing your portfolio management. Whereas epic in Jira, at least in safe terminology, that would be your features that are broken down into stories. So we could even go back to this, though it might not show it really well. If we go back to this slide, oops, let me put this over here. You can see over here that you have stories at the team level, you have features at the program level, potentially capabilities if you have a solution level. But then at the portfolio level, that's where you have your safe epics and your themes that would then link up to your enterprise goals. So So that's kind of how you would, and you can set up the terminology the way you want it in Jira Align, but it definitely handles all those layers of work from the team up to the enterprise. And again, the typically what we see with most organizations is the feature level, the feature work item in Jira Align would then sync over to Jira, and it would sync at that epic level in Jira. So I think currently you can't rename that in Jira. You can't change the terminology. I think at some point they're going to add that in, but that's how it would sync up. Features in Jira Align would sync up to Jira epics. Okay, so let's see, another question. If we invested on Advanced Roadmap, is there a way to import content from Advanced Roadmap to Align? So what would be happening there is right now, the syncing that takes place between Jira and Jira Align is from the Jira Epic layer down. So Jira Epics, stories, bugs, subtasks, those all have the ability to sync over then to work items within Jira Align. So if you were kind of going up above the Epic level, there's not an out of the box way to sync up. Like, let's say you set up safe epics or initiatives in Jira, there's not a way to sync those up right currently to those higher level work items in Jira Align. So there would have to be, I think Jira, again, Advanced Roadmaps is a great way to potentially kind of start your journey to Jira Align, where you're starting to think about how are we going to organize our organization in terms of teams and programs, and even start to think about portfolios. And then that could all then be used as a foundation for setting up your implementation of Jira Align. And Advanced Roadmaps could still be used for teams and for team of team, even visualization within Jira as well going forward. There's some really nice team capacity planning capabilities within Advanced Roadmaps that your teams could just use that. And so there's definitely use cases for leveraging both Advanced Roadmaps and Jira Align with your organization. So another question here around the syncing between Jira and Jira Align, is it syncing with another field, or is it using the parent link? So the parent link field is just something that's used within Advanced Roadmaps to go up from the Epic, Jira Epic to higher level work items. That parent link isn't utilized in the connector. It's really, again, it's just looking, it takes into account epics, and it takes into account those epic links from stories that link up to epics. So it obviously has functionality support for all of that. So, and again, like I said, the connector supports that Jira Epic layer down to stories, even to subtasks. Those would all sync over to Jira Align, and then that all the work, as work is completed in Jira, it's noted as accepted in Jira Align, and that acceptance then gets rolled up to show progress throughout the tool then in Jira Align. All right. Cool. So I think that wraps up. I don't see any other questions. Thank you for those questions. And also, thank you for attending. Let me just again mention, we do have some upcoming webinars that you can register for, and classes like Jira Bootcamp and Confluence Bootcamp. Those are not free; those are paid, and you can go to xpm.com and find out all of these offerings. And please, again, feel free to email me at jason.kidner@xpm.com if you have any follow-up questions or want to talk more about any needs you have with your Atlassian products. So thank you, and hope you have a great rest of your Thursday.